Well, each year the Grammy Awards celebrates the best in music, and this year is no different. The 61st Grammy Awards, MasterCard is going to showcase a new Sonic brand. Joining me now is Raja Rajamanar. He's the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for MasterCard. Raja, let me ask you this. Why do you think people get so excited about the Grammys?
So Grammys is obviously the biggest event in the world of music, and music in itself is probably the most universal of all passions. And I think for 61 years, Grammys has been so consistently being literally the gold standard of recognizing talent in the music industry. And I guess that's why people are so excited about Grammy Awards, and it's one of the biggest moments.
All right, let's talk about this new Sonic brand and how this is going to build excitement for the Grammy Awards.
Yeah, we are very excited. Obviously, we have been working on this initiative for almost 2 years now. And the context is, typically people identify a brand when they look at the logo. But there are many situations today that there is no visual real estate. People are dealing with, for example, smart speakers. They have got wearables. They have got Internet of Things. Now, as a brand, how do you register your presence in those environments and connect with the consumers? And that's where the concept of sonic branding comes. It's an audio identity or a sound identity for your brand. And what we have come up with is what we believe is a path-breaking or a groundbreaking strategy of a comprehensive architecture around how the MasterCard sound should sound like. So we have come up with a melody, and this melody is very universal. It's resonant globally, it resonates globally, and at the same time, very, very what you call relatable in every single culture and across different genres. And this melody is something which will now play going forward in all our advertisements, on voice on hold, and we got ringtones and so on and so forth. And a small subset of this is what we call as our sonic signature. And if I can just play for one quick second, the sonic signature sounds like this. Right, this plays at the end of every single one of our ads, and whenever you use your MasterCard at any point of sale, you will hear the sound of MasterCard as well. And all the details are there on mastercard.com.
I appreciate your time. I'm going to go check it out. Have a great one.
You'll be excited, I hope.
And you'll be able to find this segment a little later on our website, firstcoastliving.net.